Hello, my friends. This is Andy coming to you live from Southern California. I had to come on really quick before our great president comes on and share with you something that it just hit me, and I had to come on, and I wasn't going to, but I couldn't stop myself because I am so encouraged by this weekend. And I know, don't get excited. don't get complacent. In law enforcement, we call that is deadly to become complacent. You can be encouraged once the SWAT team shows up and the helicopter shows up and that kind of stuff, but you still have to stay vigilant about your surroundings when you're dealing with something that's as deadly as the Democratic Party. Going against America and Americans. And so I'm telling you, but I am encouraged. I wear shirts like this now all the time. I have a mask, which I don't, when I have to wear a mask, I've walked in the store a couple times, didn't wear it, and they go, "Do you have a mask?" And yeah, I got one. I put it on. Or I wear a hat like this. And I want to tell you why I'm encouraged by this. There's a few things I'm encouraged by wearing apparel. I have a Trump flag in front of my house. I have an American flag in front of my house. I have, again, a hat or a shirt that I often wear. And I have yet, and it's going to happen, I know, and I may get attacked one of these days and hit over the head with a bat. But I can tell you that I have not been out in the last several months where I did not have something like that on, where somebody didn't come up and said, "Oh, thank you. I thought I was alone," or giving me a fist bump or saying, "Hey, I love your shirt. I love your hat." And that's just not at the church I go to. At the church I go to, people love it. They embrace me and say, "Oh my gosh, that is the greatest shirt. Where can I get one myself?" But as I go around Southern California here, not just here in my little city, but in Newport Beach earlier today, I was wearing this shirt. I was on the cliff as many people were being baptized, and I was walking through the public area of the beach, not just where the church was. People were like going out of the way to say, "Hey, where can I get that shirt?" and fist pumping. I then go on social media for a little bit just to check and see what's going on. And there are Trump rallies in Beverly Hills, which is huge. Walkaway movements in Beverly Hills. There's a Trump rally in Fresno. Yesterday, there was a Trump rally in Yorba Linda, and that's just in California. And I know that there's more. I just wasn't able to see them all. And I am encouraged. Again, that doesn't mean that we stop. That doesn't mean that we get complacent. We still have to get out the word. I am discouraged by social media because I have had probably 3 or 4 messages from people that said, "I used to get notified when you're live, and now I don't get notified." And they accidentally come across something, or "You haven't done a show in a while. How come?" I go, "I do a show. Are you kidding me?" I have people that come on and say, "Well, you're on like 3 times a day." I go, "Yeah, I used to get notified, and now I don't get notified." Listen, October 1st is going to come, and there's a very strong likelihood that many, there's people that are way bigger than I am in the conservative world, like Terrence Williams and the Hodgkins brothers. I can't remember their name, the twins, and others who are also saying, Dan Bongino saying, "Hey, we are getting shut down. We are getting blocked by all social media." And so it's just, all I can say is that you got to get out and you got to do more and be more vocal and do more posts. At some point, like Netflix, they're just going to lose everybody. I've canceled my Netflix. I know hundreds of people that have also canceled. On a post that I put on, I can't believe all the people that said, I'm canceling, just based on one show. People are pissed. Right. Normally, one show may not have such a movement. It is a pretty sick show, showing 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds twerking and all this kind of stuff. And it's kind of like when I was in sex crimes. When I was in sex crimes and dealing with child molestations, my daughter, who's now 26, was only 6 years old at the time. And so I was more affected by my job and what I was seeing and hearing from 6-year-old victims and 7-year-old victims, 12-year-old victims. And it affected me more. And so having a 12-year-old daughter now, in addition to my 26-year-old daughter, it affects me. It affects me even more. But it's encouraging to see people just say, "You know what? We've had enough of this BS. Black Lives Matter BS. Just the Marxist terrorist organization called Black Lives Matter, BLM, Hodge twins. Oh, they're the Hodge. Is their last name Hodge, and now they just added the twins part? Is that what happened?" I love the guys. I should know more about them. I just like, "Oh yeah," that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just like those guys. I want to be a homie because Candace Owens has this new song. I guess it's like it's something she opened her show with, which I'm going to share a little bit about with what I heard, and I want you to understand. I'm first telling you the positive, and I'm going to show you some negative. But there's both this encouragement. There's a lot of people just making a lot of noise. The walk away movement, the Hodge twins and Terrence Williams and Dan Bongino, who has a huge audience. I want to encourage you to follow my podcast too, please. Just go to either iHeartRadio or Spotify or Apple Podcast or Amazon Pod, whatever. I should be on all of them. Just type in the Andy Falco Show and you should find it on there. And I would love for you to subscribe there, because that may be the only place that I can live after a while. And I know you're probably listening to every word I say all the time. I had a great interview with Joe Cirillo. I'm good for me because I really enjoyed it. I got some positive feedback, especially from Amy and some other people who said that they normally would not watch an hour long portion of any show, much less my show. And they said they couldn't turn it off. I got a few messages from people who said, wow, I couldn't last like 10 minutes with you. But I lasted an hour, mostly because I didn't do much talking. He did most of the talking. And people loved that show. And what he said at the end, when I asked him, I said, you know what? Took a picture with our great President Trump on People magazine, not knowing what his answer would be. And he had an amazing answer, just saying he is the nicest guy, the most philanthropic guy that he knows. And just an amazing man. And then he said, he's crazy. And I go, uh-oh. What's he going to say? He goes, he's crazy about the United States of America. And that was just a really awesome thing for him to say, and just really appreciated his answer. I didn't not know how. There was a couple of questions. Normally, I try to work like an attorney. I try to only ask questions I know what the answer is going to be. That you, as an attorney, you never want to ask a question. Never is a strong word, but sometimes you take chances. But you don't want to necessarily ask a question you don't know the answer to, because it could end up horribly wrong. And so even on my shows, I really try really hard to not ask questions where I don't know where the answer is, because sometimes I want to ask a follow-up question, or I want to make sure that it benefits the show and what it is we're speaking about. But I just had to ask what his thoughts were, since he had spent time with President Trump before he was president, of course, back in 2001 or something like that. I can't remember when that People magazine came out. But anyway, so I'm encouraged by everything I'm seeing. Again, wearing a hat, wearing a shirt like this and other stuff. It's just I've not yet. And again, I know my oldest daughter says, Dad, you shouldn't go out with that stuff. Somebody's going to, hit you over the head with an anvil or something like that, like Bugs Bunny. And you need to be careful. You're going to get shot at and that kind of stuff. Again, it is possible, but I am encouraged by everybody every day. Not once have I ever gone out with a shirt or a hat or something where somebody didn't come up and say, or my mask just says voteoutthedems.com, votethedems.com. I can't remember exactly what it says. I never look at it because it's always on my face. And people say, where can I get one of those? Or I love your mask, or I love your hat, I love your shirt. And so that's very encouraging. Okay, now I'm going to play a little something from D'Souza, who spoke. I'm going to put the link. Actually, let me do that first. I'm going to put the link to the Blexit. I don't know if it's a conference or what it was that was going on today. I accidentally came across it, and I'm so glad I did. It is a great event where they had a number of speakers. Candace Owen was the host and the final speaker. I'm going to put the link in the chat here and make sure. And if you haven't had a chance to watch it, make sure and watch it. All right. So I'm going to share just a little bit. And this is what we need to remember. All right. So I can be encouraged about everything that's going on. I can be encouraged about the number of rallies and that kind of stuff. But you got to understand that the left is evil. The Democrats are not American. No Democrat is American in my mind. They encourage BLM and Antifa. They bail them out. They're for defunding and dismantling law enforcement, or diverting, as Biden said, diverting some money. And so the left has left America. They want to convert America to something else, something that we will not recognize. But we recognize it because other countries have tried socialism before and communism, and it doesn't work. It never has worked. I don't care if you call it democratic socialism. I don't care what name you give it. It does not work. America works. We know it works. We're one of the most generous countries, if not the most generous country in the world. We're the least racist country in the world. You go to many other countries and you see one race, right? Right? You see a few sprinkling in there, that kind of stuff. But for the most part, they are very nationalist in their efforts to maintain who they have in their country. Those who have not controlled those coming into their country and have opened their borders, they're a mess. They have, what is it, Germany? Is it Germany? I think Germany has one of the highest rapes percentages of of most countries. It's one of those, don't quote me, but there's a couple countries that have just opened up their borders and let a lot of foreigners come in, foreigners that have not been vetted, and now their rapes are skyrocketing because of not having controlled borders. And it's just, all you got to do is look around. It's kind of like the voting thing. Like if we just send out a bunch of ballots, they'll all come back, and only people that should be voting will vote. And that is the way it's going to. No, we know that was small areas where they've tried mail-in voting, not absentee voting. It's two different things, you nitwits. There's people, not you, the people that think that it's the same thing, that they didn't know who won for months. And in the end, they're really not quite sure who won. And I think places like New Jersey and some other places where they tried it. Can you imagine our entire country going to mail-in voting? It's just, and blanket ballots going out there to just, who knows? Right? I got a dog here. She may get one. You know, she's only 2.5 years old. But she can't vote, but she's going to get a ballot. It's one of the stupidest things we've ever seen. It's just moronic. All right. So I'm gonna read a portion of a book that you're gonna want to stick around for. I'm gonna hurry up because I don't want to miss our great president speaking. But let me play this little bit of, and it's gonna be hard to stop because he just goes on and makes some really good points. But I'm gonna share Dinesh in his thing, and I cannot pronounce names. Amy knows that. That's why I have Amy as my producer now, because she helps me with names, and like the Hodge twins. I forget the name. I'm so stupid. All right. Oh, let me get rid of my lower third. Let me just play. This is right from the beginning, right from the start. He explains what the left is doing, what the Democrats are doing, and how they've simply left America. They've left the building, and they're crazy. They're nuts. And I have friends that I thought were intelligent people that are Democrats, and I just go, and they continue. Right? They continue to hit my posts with certain things, you know, and it's never good stuff. The arguments are never good. And I love posting and showing. I don't have any queued up right now or else I'd show you, but it's always Donald Trump is dumb. Okay. That's your response to him winning the Nobel Peace Prize, that somebody in his organization misspelled Nobel, right? You've never had a typo. I'm pretty dumb because I have typos all the time. And I can't remember people's names. And so that could be true. But I'm just telling you that they never have an argument. It's always like, well, he's so stupid. Okay. He's a racist. All right. Okay. Here we go. Let's get to somebody way more intelligent than me. Hold on. Here we go.
Welcome to the stage, author, filmmaker, and political activist, Dinesh D'Souza.
Thank you. Wow, guys, I'm so excited to be here. Delighted to be part of Blexit. And what a critical time for our country now. What's the end game for the left today? We see all the tactics that they're doing. Paramilitary gangs on the street, something that I don't think I've seen in my lifetime. You'd have to go back to Italy in the 1920s to see armed thugs attacking business owners. Then a deep state, by which we mean the police agencies of government, somehow weaponized to go against political opponents. What is the left up to? Those are the means, but what is the end? What's their goal? Their goal is, I think, socialism. Socialism. They want us to be the United States of socialism. Now, socialism is the most discredited idea since slavery. It has been tried in 25 countries. It has been failed everywhere it's tried. It has produced a body count that approximates 100 million. And yet, powerful people want to bring it back. It makes no sense. You know, slavery is dead. I suppose there are certain forms of slavery that still exist, but there's no political party anywhere in the world that advocate slavery. You don't have a group of people anywhere in the world who say, well, you know, slavery was actually an excellent concept, but the implementation was poor. This time we're going to get it right. But that is what people do say about socialism. Now, if you look at the socialism being promoted by the left today, the socialism that has kind of migrated from Bernie to Biden and Harris, it is actually different in a couple of respects that are worth commenting about. The first, the left says it's democratic socialism. It's not authoritarian socialism. They say we don't want to be like Mao or Stalin. This is democratic socialism. It's sanctified by the idea of democracy itself. But if you think about it, democracy doesn't actually sanctify any kind of confiscation at all. When I was a kid, I used to go to school, and at recess we'd play marbles, and I'd carry, 10 marbles in my pocket. So imagine if I was jumped by a bunch of guys, or one guy who attacked me and took my marbles. Authoritarian socialism. One guy is seizing my possession by force. But here's the second scenario. I fall in with a bunch of guys, they take a vote, the 10 of them, and 8 of them agree, let's knock down Dinesh and take his marbles. In both cases, I've been robbed. And the fact that 8 guys voted to rob me collectively doesn't make it any more just than if one guy did it.
That pretty much sums it up, right? And he continues. He has continues the great discussion with about NBA players, and it just continues on, and he just makes really, really good points. And the whole thing is good for the most part, and just and watch it. And Candace Owens comes on, and she is, as usual, spectacular. And she's pregnant, by the way, which I did not know until I watched that show. All right, so I'm going to read one more thing, and then we're going to get off, and then we're going to watch President Trump. It was so funny. The numbers went all the way up to like almost 80 suddenly. It was bizarre because I wasn't speaking. Maybe that's why. But this book, if you don't have it, you got to get it. And it's called, let's see if I can get it so that it's not shiny. Color, Communism, and Common Sense. It's by Manning Johnson. Manning Johnson is a black man who wrote this book in 1958. So this book is written in 1958. And I've read this on my other single show that I do on my personal page. But I just want to read this one part here. And now I lost my page. Oh, there it is. All right. And this was written in 1958. And I'm only reading this part because based on what Dinesh said and what we're talking about and what we need to be concerned about, because this is not the, what was the last thing? I forgot. They come up with so much stuff. What was the last thing? It wasn't about the soldiers. It was something else that he, about the COVID-19 that he didn't tell us this is the silliness, right? Before that, it was that he was stealing the post office boxes and hiding them in the White House garage, right? And then it was that he said something horrible about the troops in Normandy or in World War II, which again, now even the author of that particular story said, well, it wasn't even true. And then you had this thing with the COVID, and now and it's really interesting. It's almost, I try to figure out what it is going to talk about because they're rehashing stuff, right? You have Adam Schiff, who's coming up with some more Russian stuff, right? He's just a Russian dude, right? He's just trying to find a way to bring back some of his credibility, and I'm not sure that even his family likes him. He's a pretty much hated person. He's a despicable person to our country. How these people got voted. What I love, again, as I always like to say, is that Donald Trump simply has exposed the stupidity in the politicians that have been voted into office. But here in 1958, this great man, Manning Johnson, who had given communism a try, writes this book to say, wow, boy, was I duped. But here on page 7 of his book, about halfway down, I'm going to start there. There's other stuff, of course, leading up to this part, but you want to make sure and listen to this part. I was lured into the Red Movement by way of the American Negro Labor Congress, one of the many front organizations set up by the communists to trap the naive, unwary, unsuspecting, and idealistic Negro. The use of such attractive and appealing fronts as a means of entrapment is a most important serpentine method of the Reds. After 2 years of practical training in organizing street demonstrations, inciting mob violence, how to fight the police, and how to politically throw a brick and hide, I was ready, in the opinion of my leaders, for top communist school. At a secret national training school in New York City, I was given an extensive and intensive course in the theory and practice of Red political warfare. As a result, I was appointed district organizer by the political bureau of the Communist Party in the Buffalo, New York area, one of the virtual industrial sections of our country. It was in the position of district organizer that I learned to use secret codes, mail drops, organize clandestine meetings, shake police shadows, and other underground activities. At the same time, I became acquainted with the nature of communist sabotage and espionage. And so, from this playbook that Manning Johnson was taught from, our organizations, I don't know why I said our, these organizations that are in our country, the United States of America, are being run the same way. There's no difference. This book was written in 1958 about the very same things we're doing now. There's nothing different. When Dinesh says that, that they're calling it something else, it is the same thing. If you're going to be robbed by one person or 8 people because they voted to do it, it makes no difference. And when I read that and just see what's going on right now, understand this, that it is going to probably get worse. And I'm encouraging you all to be prepared for it to get worse. And I'm not trying to scare you. Again, Dan Bongino talks about this on the show, that he does shows and people email him and message him and say, why are you trying to scare us? Why? He goes, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to prepare you. I've never been in this position before in my entire life. I have people ask me all the time, I didn't know you were so political. When did this happen? When did you start this? I normally would not have been, except for I have children. I have a 6-year-old, a 9-year-old, 12-year-old, 14-year-old, and a 26-year-old who are going to have to live in this country after we get done with it. And do I want them living in a country that is run by socialists, that is run to the ground, and they're going to have to cook rats some of these other countries that are currently used to be really fantastic countries that are now not so fantastic because socialism was brought in once again when everybody knows it doesn't work. The only people that like it are those that want power. Of course, those people that want power, continue watching. Hit the link when you have a chance after our great president speaks. Watch that whole series, all the speakers, especially what Candace has to say at the end, and Dinesh has at the beginning. Now, again, I don't know. I hate saying his name because I know I say it wrong. However, you know who I'm talking about, the guy that I just showed. He's great. He's a great speaker. And what he has to say just hits the nail on the head. And I just want to, again, encourage you, do not stay quiet. They are used to conservatives and the Republicans staying quiet. They're used to us just going, you know what? Let them yell and scream. They'll go away. Nothing really bad will happen. It's not that big of a deal. Let's just let them get it out of their system, right? They said that. Let's just let them get it. They've not gotten out of their system, right? 100 and something days later in Portland, they still are rioting and doing things. Now, I haven't heard anything lately, so they're not probably as active as they were before, but it'll come back and they're not going to stop. This will not stop. And it's coming to your home. We know it's coming to your home because we've seen it come to people's homes in small cities that you never heard of. Right? The name I can't remember, Amy. Canuka. Whatever that town is in Wisconsin that I can never remember the name. It went to them. Nope. Wait, who ever heard of that town? I've never heard of it. Right? Even St. Louis, Missouri went into a private community where a couple had to bring out their gun. Hey, we're under attack. This is a private community. They knocked down the fence and now they were arrested. They were charged. But now finally some people that had broken in and broke down the fence and threatened them, they finally have charged them with something. It won't stick because they have a liberal DA and law enforcement over there, not the police, but beyond that, in the prosecution, that kind of stuff. Very liberal people that will not charge those people with anything unless they're charging with federal crimes, which I hope they are. So this is not gonna go away. It's going to come to your front door. It's going to come to Yorba Linda, Kenosha. Thank you. I was close. It's going to come to your front door, and you being quiet and not saying anything because you think it's going to affect your business, that you're going to get fired, that your family's going to hate you, is no longer a good excuse. It simply is not a good excuse, because what's going to end up happening is you are still going to lose. And we're going to lose our country because you chose not to speak up and let people know. I take my chances by wearing a shirt and hat in all these places. I walk into stores proudly, and again, I get nothing but fist bumps and handshakes and hugs from people. And I have way more friends. I think I've doubled the number of friends that I have on these social media platforms because I have spoken up. It was just the opposite of what many people say. Well, you're gonna lose everybody. Everybody's gonna hate your guts. Well, actually, I think I lost maybe 10 people and gained 2,000 people. So I don't know. That's my experience. But I'm telling you, being quiet is not going to be good. Being silent is not going to be good. The silent majority needs not be silent any longer. The majority needs to be loud. And you see it at the rallies. Thank God, right? You see the difference between a Trump rally when he's speaking and the 4 people that show up to Biden and he's asked questions that he already knows the answers to, which is completely ridiculous. Ridiculousness is going on. All right, my friends, I am ready. Good, David. Where you been, by the way? I haven't seen you. I saw Michelle just a few minutes ago getting in the car, but that was it. I'm ready for them to come. I like that. Here's the entire Candace Owens event. It's excellent. Oh, you posted it? Thank you for posting it too. I put it in there too, and that's good. More people that can see that link, click on the link and watch it. In Trump country, silent majority is going to surprise themselves and everyone. Nice. Kenosha. Yep. Feel the same. Rick, nice to have you on there on Twitter. Nice to have you on Twitter. Yeah, my numbers jumped up way huge there for a second. Again, I wasn't speaking, so that should tell me something, right? That's good. All right, my friends, enjoy President Trump's speech tonight. We'll see you tomorrow, I'm sure, at some point. This is a great weekend, great day. Be encouraged, but don't let your guard down. Don't be complacent. Again, as a police officer, 21 years, the worst thing you can do is to become complacent. You can be encouraged with the tools and the weapons you have and the voice you have and that kind of stuff, but do not let your guard down. Do not go back to being silent and be ready for it to get worse. It will get worse. We know this. I'm telling you, based on what I just read you, their plan, their playbook. I just read some of the things from their playbook. Dinesh just talked about what their plan is, and it is going to get worse, but you need to be strong and need to be hold fast and don't give up. All right. Stay encouraged. All right, my friends. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye. Oops. I didn't do sorry. I got to do my outro. What the heck am I doing? I've lost my mind. Here we go.